Have you ever caught a subtle whiff of something in the air, something you couldn't quite place, and wondered if you might be the source? It's a nagging thought that can creep in, especially as we grow older, and it's more common than you think. One day, someone we love might make an innocent comment, and suddenly everything shifts. That's exactly what happened to Harriet Adams, who is 72 years old, when her 7-year-old granddaughter, Anna, quietly asked, "Grandma, why do you always smell different?" It wasn't said with any malice. Anna was simply being honest the way children often are. Yet those few words made Harriet's heart sink, because she'd spent her whole life being meticulous, clean home, freshly washed laundry, and a bath every single day. To hear that her granddaughter noticed an unusual odor shattered her confidence overnight. Harriet vividly remembers the moment Anna asked that question while perched on the couch, hugging a pillow instead of snuggling up beside her grandmother. The child held her breath during bedtime kisses, and there was a distance that felt like it might never close. Later that evening, Harriet lay in bed blinking away tears, her mind swirling with self-doubt. "Do I really smell old? Is this what people notice about me?" she wondered. That question felt like an avalanche, burying her sense of self in seconds. It might surprise you to learn that this so-called old person smell is far more widespread than most seniors realize. Families seldom speak of it because they fear hurting their elders' feelings. Friends may be too polite to mention anything. Even medical professionals often sidestep the topic, not wanting to offend. Yet, behind closed doors, many older adults find themselves quietly asking what Harriet did. Have you ever felt people keeping a few extra inches away, or noticed loved ones discreetly opening a window after you've left the room? If so, you're not imagining things, and it's not about being neglectful or unclean. There's a real biological reason that scent appears. I'm Dr. Henry Thompson, and at 77 years old, I've spent more than half a century working with older adults nationwide. During my years of practice, I've seen the heartbreak that comes from feeling overlooked or avoided, often without any clear explanation. Let me assure you, there is nothing shameful about this issue. It's a simple, natural part of aging, one that nearly 99% of seniors cannot smell on themselves. But younger noses detect it instantly. Children notice it, their parents notice it, even casual acquaintances can tell. The frustrating part is that many won't tell you. They want to spare your feelings, which leaves you in the dark, not knowing why people seem more reserved in your presence. The good news, though, is that there are easy ways to address this. You don't need fancy perfume, expensive lotions, or harsh chemicals. Instead, you just need the right information. Knowledge is power. Once you understand why this odor arises, and how everyday habits can either reduce or amplify it, you'll have the tools to restore your confidence and reclaim those wonderful close moments with family and friends. Let's talk about why this old person smell exists in the first place. If you've ever chalked it up to a lack of hygiene, toss that misconception out the window right now. People like Harriet, immaculately clean, taking showers daily, still notice that certain mustiness clinging to them. It can even be a bit grassy or oily in nature. But how is that possible? It's not an illusion, and it has nothing to do with giving up on personal grooming. As our bodies age, we go through subtle but impactful changes. Some are visible, like graying hair, while others remain below our radar. For example, seniors typically sweat less than younger adults. At first glance, that might sound like a perk. Who enjoys sweating through their clothes anyway? Yet sweat has a purpose. It expels unwanted substances through our pores, flushing toxins out of our system. When you sweat less, those toxins stick around. They can collect on the surface of your skin and feed the bacteria that naturally live there, creating a sour or musty odor over time. Then there's a lesser-known chemical factor. Past the age of about 50, our skin starts producing a compound called 2-nonenal. Younger people generally don't have this in significant amounts, but it gradually builds in older adults. This compound seeps into skin oils, often in regions like the neck, chest, or back, and it's remarkably stubborn. Slathering on perfume or cologne doesn't always mask it. It can even make the scent stronger by mingling with the natural aroma. On top of that, mouth dryness can become a hidden culprit. We tend to produce less saliva as the years pass, sometimes only half of what we did in our 20s or 30s. Less saliva means more bacteria roaming around in your mouth. That bacterial activity is what creates unpleasant breath. So you might have a completely clean body, yet your breath or your skin oils are working together to create a lingering odor that others notice. This reality can be tough to grapple with. Harriet described how she felt when she realized the problem didn't vanish just by showering longer or slathering on extra soap. One day, she stepped out of the bath feeling fresh and clean. Yet her granddaughter still seemed hesitant to curl up on her lap. "It felt like I was fighting an invisible force," Harriet said. "I'd scrubbed every inch of my body, but something else was going on that I couldn't control." That's where carefully targeted approaches come in. Over the decades, I've counseled thousands of older patients on ways to banish this odor and bring their loved ones closer. Believe it or not, you can take simple steps that will dramatically improve, if not eliminate, the problem. First off, it's crucial to know that where you wash is just as important as how often you wash. Most seniors bathe daily, but they often miss key areas that account for up to 90% of the unwanted smell. Our bodies develop more folds and creases with age, including around the neck, behind the ears, under the arms, under the breasts, around the navel, and in other hidden crevices. These spots can trap sweat, oils, and dead skin. Harriet once admitted that for decades she merely gave behind her ears a quick pass with soap, never giving it the focus it needed. When she finally started scrubbing behind her ears gently and thoroughly, her granddaughter immediately noticed a more pleasant scent. Now, another major factor is hair. Our scalp and body hair, like on the chest or underarms, naturally collect oils and sweat. If you simply apply shampoo without massaging the scalp, you might leave behind a residue of dead skin cells and oils. I had one patient, Tom Gray, who confided that he always shampooed, but only for a few seconds. After I instructed him to really work the shampoo into his scalp for at least half a minute, he reported back that his wife couldn't believe the difference, and his grandson actually ran up for a spontaneous hug after weeks of avoiding close contact. And let's not forget the feet. Feet tend to be locked in socks and shoes all day, sweating in a warm, dark environment, a paradise for bacterial growth. James Watson, age 68, told me how his daughter-in-law would keep the windows cracked open whenever he visited because of the lingering odor from his feet. When he began carefully washing between his toes, drying his feet well, and rotating his shoes to let them air out, he noticed the entire family seemed happier to sit close to him at gatherings. Once you grasp these target areas, folds, hairy zones, and feet, you're on track to make immediate progress. But why stop there when a few simple daily habits can compound those benefits? Think about the inside of your body. If you can support your body's own cleansing processes, you'll stand a better chance of staying fresh around the clock. Small rituals can have a dramatic effect. For instance, drinking warm water first thing in the morning offers a surprisingly potent detoxifying effect. It's a gentle wake-up call for your digestive system, prompting the release of toxins before they have the chance to linger. Harriet tried it herself. Instead of jumping straight to her morning coffee, she began her day with a mug of warm water. After about 2 weeks, she swore her skin felt softer and that her granddaughter was eager for hugs again. Similarly, going for short walks in mild sunlight, say, before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m., promotes light sweating that helps purge impurities from your pores. Fred Turner, 75, was initially skeptical, complaining that his knees weren't up for strenuous exercise. But I told him to just aim for a gentle 10-minute stroll and see how he felt. Within days, he found himself eagerly extending it to 20 minutes, noticing a difference not only in how he smelled but in his general mood and energy. One habit older adults sometimes overlook is water temperature when bathing. A steaming hot shower can feel luxurious, but high heat strips your skin of its natural, protective oils and dries it out, which might worsen the odor you're trying to combat. Instead, aim for a comfortably warm shower, around 100 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. This approach will be gentler on your skin while still clearing away the buildup that leads to mustiness. Then we turn to diet, a factor people often underestimate when it comes to scent. You really do smell like what you eat. Certain foods, particularly those rich in antioxidants, can help your body fight off the internal rusting, known as oxidation, a process that contributes to that old age aroma. Staples like apples, berries, tomatoes, and whole grains are easy additions to most diets. Paul Daniels, 79, tried eating at least 1 apple and 1 tomato a day. Within a couple of months, he received heartwarming feedback. His granddaughter told him he smelled like sunshine. It brought tears to his eyes because it felt like she was recognizing the positive changes he made. It might be a surprise to hear that garlic, while notorious for short-term breath issues, can assist with odor management in the long run. When digested and processed fully, garlic helps cleanse your system of certain bacteria and toxins that can contribute to musty smells. Roasting or cooking it in soups is a great way to mitigate its overpowering raw scent while still reaping its health benefits. Next on the list, hydration is key, and that can come from water-rich fruits and vegetables, such as cucumbers, pears, and watermelon. Nancy Roberts, 68, had difficulty increasing her water intake simply by drinking more glasses of water. She tried snacking on cucumber slices and tomato wedges throughout the day and found it much easier to keep her body hydrated, which also aided digestion and lowered the likelihood of odor. Be mindful of how coffee, alcohol, and greasy foods factor into your daily habits. Coffee is a known diuretic, so it dehydrates you the more you drink it, intensifying any odor issues. Alcohol has a similar dehydrating effect, and greasy or fried meals can slow digestion, leaving waste byproducts to linger in your system. Harriet didn't give up her beloved coffee altogether. She just began balancing each cup with an extra glass of water. Meanwhile, she significantly reduced fried foods, opting for more fiber-rich options like oatmeal and brown rice. She noticed not just fresher breath but also a lighter feeling in her body overall. Speaking of breath, let's move on to oral hygiene. Toothbrushing alone might not be enough, especially when you're producing less saliva than before. Linda Morris, who is 73, shared that she had always brushed every morning and night, so she believed she was in good shape. Yet her grandson began inching away whenever she leaned in to speak. She had no idea that her drier mouth environment had become a breeding ground for bacteria. The moment she started brushing 3 times a day, after breakfast, lunch, and before bed, along with regular tongue scraping, she saw a rapid turnaround. Her grandson stopped shying away, and Linda's confidence soared. Many people underestimate the huge effect of tongue scraping. A basic, inexpensive tongue scraper can remove layers of bacteria that tend to live deep on the tongue's surface, an area your toothbrush might barely touch. Moreover, chewing sugar-free gum made with xylitol can help stimulate saliva, offering you a more comfortable and fresher mouth throughout the day. Saliva is nature's cleansing fluid for the mouth, and if your body isn't producing enough on its own, it's smart to encourage the flow any way you can. Also, be cautious with mouthwashes that contain alcohol. They can actually dry out your mouth even further, working against you in the end. Even if you're scrupulous about body and mouth care, there's still another set of smell traps lurking in your environment, particularly clothing, bedding, and shoes. Think about how often you change your pillowcases, socks, or shoes. If you're sleeping on the same sheets for weeks at a time, that fabric accumulates oils, sweat, and skin cells. Harriet recalls that she used to rotate her sheets about once a month, considering that sufficient. But after committing to washing them weekly, she noticed a remarkable difference. Her bedroom felt fresher, she slept better, and visitors stopped any side-eye or subtle open-window maneuvers. Shoes also deserve attention. If you tend to slip on the same pair day after day, those shoes rarely get the chance to air out, creating a moist, enclosed space perfect for bacterial and fungal growth. Paul Daniels began sprinkling baking soda inside his shoes and rotating 3 different pairs. He'd wear one pair on Monday, a different pair on Tuesday, and so on, letting each rest and air out between uses. He also placed them in the sunlight for a few minutes each week. That brief exposure to UV rays does wonders for neutralizing odor-causing bacteria. Then there's the air quality in your living space. A room that's never aired out becomes stagnant. It locks in scents from cooking, your body, your pets, and anything else in the environment. Cracking open a window for even 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening can work like a mini reset for the entire room. Fred Turner, who was sensitive to cold drafts, decided to try just a small gap in the window, and found the temperature change negligible, while the improvement in air circulation was huge. The overarching message here is that none of this means you're dirty. You're simply experiencing natural shifts that come with age. These changes impact how much you sweat, how your skin oil chemistry evolves, and how much saliva you produce. Armed with these insights, you can make strategic adjustments that fit your life. Harriet Adams, along with many others, found that once she understood the science behind the smell, she was able to lift the cloud of embarrassment that once weighed her down. Perhaps the biggest benefit of addressing this issue is the emotional boost that comes when loved ones stop shying away. Hugs become more frequent. Grandchildren snuggle closer. You can walk into a gathering and know with confidence that you're not carrying any musty baggage. Seniors often talk about feeling invisible or isolated, and something as simple as addressing body odor can rekindle the warmth and closeness that might have begun to slip away. Dr. Henry Thompson has seen it time and again in his decades of working with older adults. Small, consistent habits yield huge payoffs in well-being and relationship quality. Consider Harriet's final transformation. Once she dedicated herself to washing the often missed folds, massaging her scalp in the shower, scrubbing her feet thoroughly, adding antioxidant-rich foods to her diet, and switching to milder water temperature, she noticed a difference in under a week. She started drinking warm water in the morning, took brief walks in the sunlight, and changed sheets every 7 days. Then came an even bigger change: the interactions with her family. No more quick air freshening behind her back, no more subtle avoidance. The next time Anna came for a visit, she hopped right onto Harriet's lap with a giggle and pressed in close, the way she always had before. That's the real victory. It's not just about smelling, okay, it's about restoring the intimacy, laughter, and tenderness that make life rich. It's a reminder that even though our bodies evolve in ways we don't always love, we still have the power to adapt and thrive. It's a gentle call to action that says, yes, you can be the grandparent or parent or friend who never has to worry that your presence might cause discomfort. You can be the senior who walks with pride and shares warm embraces without the fear of someone quietly pulling away. If you found this conversation valuable, please consider clicking that like button and subscribing to our channel. The material we share here at Senior Wisdom is specifically designed for individuals in their golden years, packed with straightforward, impactful tips for navigating life's changes. Share this with a friend, neighbor, or a loved one who might also benefit, because none of us should have to struggle with these issues alone. Before you go, I've got a question for you. Which of these tips are you most eager to try first, and why? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you'll encourage someone else who's been waiting for a practical solution. Your story might be the spark that inspires another person to reclaim their sense of closeness with family, just like Harriet did. Let's keep the conversation going. Together, we can make aging a journey filled with dignity, comfort, and plenty of fresh, happy hugs.